Going to open the January 18th, 2023 select board meeting at 6 p.m. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
Just the tax bill.
Belinda asked about, we just need to make an appointment for someone to represent the town of the tax sale. We'll put that under a select board review. Anything else? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of January 4th.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of January 4th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any additions, corrections, deletions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Do you have any comments from the community?
Now, if I can just introduce to you Bradley, who has come on with Zoom. Bradley is a new resident to Wolcott since December. He lives on Simmons Road. He got in touch with me a while back. We came to the office and we had a discussion. And he's interested in participating in town government in some fashion. So we talked about all the committees and so forth. And correct me if I'm wrong, Bradley, but Bradley is committee shopping right now. And so he's going in on committee meetings. Unfortunately, due to my error, he was not able to come to the schoolhouse meeting, but I did tell him that we were going to follow it today. So Bradley has joined us for that. Did I get that right, Bradley?
You need to unmute.
He's saying yes to check.
Oh. Does he have a last name?
Yes, he's here.
He bought the Killian house.
Bradley, can you just spell out your last name for us?
Horstman, Horstman.
Well, welcome to Wolcott. So we have no one else on. We'll move on to correspondence. I don't really have anything. Yeah, what's in correspondence? You can take up the reading.
I think that's that's for the
Yeah, but you pointed me in
oh,
I already talked to her a
okay.
number of times. I just needed to sign in here is that petition for Memorial Mental Health, but it only has 3 signatures on it.
Right. So
The deadline is tomorrow to be on the warning. Okay, we'll move on to Sal.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me here to speak to all of you about the rock tour. So over the past few months, the Schoolhouse Committee has been hard at work figuring out how to actually rehabilitate the building itself. And one of these major steps that we took was this RFP. So we put a request for proposal out to local architects regarding a feasibility study. This feasibility study is meant to look at the building conditions, exactly what needs to be replaced, how much it would cost, and then also it would go into a deep dive of 3 conceptual designs, with also at the end a preliminary construction cost. So after putting out this RFP at this point it was in November. We did a site walk with 3 architects. One we worked with in the past, a new gentleman named Nelson, and then I believe I was a lady from, I think it was Hyde Park, who was an engineering firm. We did receive one proposal from the gentleman named Nelson with SHKS Architects out of Burlington. They specialize in historic building rehabilitation. So they do have a lot of experience working with buildings such as the schoolhouse, and as you can see, they kind of lay out their entire resume for you. One of the main reason why I'm here is mainly based upon the work plan that they created and also the final cost that they estimated. So if you would like to jump to page 11 of this proposal, you'll see a description with step 1 through 4 listed there. So at the moment, the schoolhouse was approved for a $10,000 budget to go towards work for the building itself, which is great because that does get a large portion of this proposal done. That would get step 1 done. So step 1 includes field work for the physically coming out here and doing the physical examination. They're also going to be putting together site assessment findings and an entire report for us, and then also present to us preliminary cost estimates to is it truly realistic to rehab the entire building and the site itself. So steps 2 through 4 is where at the moment the budget kind of runs out. So 2 through 4 is I won't say mean, but it's a large chunk of what maybe a lot of us thought it would be. It's the conceptual design. It's the offering the preliminary total construction costs as well. So on page 12, they kind of break it down for you on overall spending and costs. As you can see, step 1, constraints and feasibility, falls within the $10,000 allocated budget for the schoolhouse committee. But as you get to step 2 through 4, you see that comes out to be about $9,000. So that is roughly $9,000 over the allocated funds that we initially have for the schoolhouse. And one of the reasons why I'm here is to inform all of you of our progress so far, which has been quite positive, but also to try to ask if there would be any possibility of receiving additional funding for this particular project. Right now, we also have a municipal planning grant that's currently under review. We're hoping to hear sometime in late February, early March for a decision regarding our application. That application will cover more of the site utility study, lighting, parking, things of that nature, stormwater management, things of that nature. So it's a little bit different, but that's just for your understanding of what we're doing at the moment. I did reach out to SHKS Architects. They are happy to work with us right now in phase 1 and do the constraints and feasibility portion of this project. In the contract, we will be putting in that if additional funding does become available, one way or another, we will continue our work with their particular architect. Just to kind of eliminate the hassle of going through this RFP process once again, and also to kind of get them to be okay with doing just step 1 so far. I know that I said a lot of words, so please take your time on, asking me any questions regarding our work so far. Like I mentioned, we've made a lot of positive progress in a relatively short amount of time since I started working with the committee, which was November of 2021. And if we're able to get this particular study done and also the site feasibility study done from the MPG, that will make us very competitive this late summer and fall when it comes to other particular grants that Preservation Trust of Vermont have recommended and a few other state organizations have recommended to us.
So the grant you applied to currently is for, it would not cover any of these phases, right?
It would be separate, so think of this is about the interior,
Yeah,
while the MPG of municipal planning grants is focused on the exterior.
so we have 10,000 allocated to this, which only would cover phase 1 and 2,
Would only do phase one.
phase 1, okay.
2 and 4 would be the additional costs.
What's phase 3?
So the way they break it up is that, let me get to there. So it's kind of tough to say, so phase 3 is more of the public feedback portion of their conceptual design steps. That's where obviously we would hold a public meeting for anyone to come and give their thoughts on it, but also meeting with the schoolhouse committee themselves and hearing possible alternatives to their presented designs, and then taking those alternatives and working and reworking everything. And like I mentioned, so they will be working on step 1. I know it kind of walking in and asking for an additional $9,000, it was something maybe you just snap your finger and say okay to. There is a time, a window where this decision would hopefully be made within. If we're just doing step 1, realistically, the work probably would be done if they started early February, sometime in mid-March. Realistically at the latest. For the entirety of the project, they would be done about the end of May. So right before we really enter the summer months.
My concern is, I think we should have the feasibility done, because at that point, if it's not worth saving the building, why would we spend another 10?
No, yeah, so in the contract, the way it would be written is that if step 1 does not prove to be, if it shows negative results, then we want to continue the rest of steps 2 through 4.
Right, but you're still asking for 9,200, so why don't we see what does, then look into step 2.
Yeah, that's like I said, there's a window where they're going to be doing the work, where if we want to see how it progresses, then we can make a decision once we get there. This really is to just kind of bring the topic to the table, so you're not caught off guard when I show up March with a report that potentially will say it's completely feasible to rehabilitate the building.
What was the other study then you did?
The conditions assessment was to look at the current. That was a I'll say a pre-study to this one that will say, is it even worth doing this? And Ryan Edwards, the architect that came out and looked at the interior of the building and looked at its historical elements to see if they could be in some way rehabilitated. That study was just meant to look at the current building as a standalone. This one will look at the current building as a stand, but also how it can look in the future.
Do any other comments on this?
It's pretty clear.
And SHK's architects, when I met with Nelson, he's a very friendly individual. He's happy to come to all of our meetings in person. That's when we'll start running the schoolhouse committees in person. Starting our February meeting and really getting involved with the community. He has some roots around here. I think his mother-in-law lives somewhere around here, so he's relatively familiar with the area too.
So I've heard, 2 things. I've heard, why don't we wait and come back for more money once we hear what the feasibility is? And I've heard, well, it would be written into the contract that we wouldn't go any further if it wasn't feasible. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes,
So I guess it's up to, the board on which way they wanna go.
yeah, so, in the contract, it's gonna, if it's not feasible, then we won't continue, they know that, and once we get the report. There will be, again, like I said, I won't say a small window, but a window of opportunity for when I come here. Again, if everyone's happy with the report findings, where we request additional money. And then automatically, because based on the contract, they can start coming back out here and doing steps 2 through 4, which is the conceptual designs. Without needing to jump through any additional procurement moves.
Where would the funding come from?
The only way it could come from would be from here
Okay.
at this point, but, so one of my concerns was, so if we just go with, we'll wait and get the report and see if it's feasible. Are they gonna, book off other projects so they won't be available to finish 2 and 4 through 4?
Like I said, we'll have a window of opportunity.
Okay.
Where we can continue, where we can ask them to continue to work based upon the contractual agreement.
Okay,
Now, I'm waiting to receive, right now, we're kind of working hand in hand with developing the contract. I'm gonna have to figure out how small or wide that window of opportunity will be, because, yeah, everyone's very busy, like you all
yeah,
know.
that's what I'm afraid of, that's probably why we only received 1.
Yeah, Ryan Edwards, the architect that worked with us in the past, he said he was too busy. He said the reports didn't have time.
Right,
Yeah, so again, I'm hopeful as well that I may ask Nelson to come here and speak with the select board prior to the entirety of the report being officially written, just to give you all a better understanding prior, so we don't have to wait maybe, 3 weeks, a month to actually get a decision from.
and we reach out to him to ask him what his window is.
Yeah,
It's really his window, not ours.
yeah, so like I said, before any contract is signed with the town and him, LCPC, Seth Jensen and I will make sure that everything kind of aligns with the town's goals and is realistic on both sides. But I know it's kind of it's got to wait and game a little bit to see how everything turns out. I'm hopeful that it will be a positive study, just because based on the conditions assessment, Ryan also felt that it was, in terms of structure, it was completely sound and that it was worth it. Again, money wise, SHKS architects will give us a better idea.
Okay, so everyone happy with, going with step 1 and then going back to us and we'll revisit
Yeah.
the finding.
I think it makes sense, and as long as we don't lose them,
Yeah, after speaking with Nelson, I'm pretty confident that they're gonna start working in early February. So I may have him come out to the second, you have 2 select board meetings, correct?
Yeah.
First and third Wednesday.
I may ask if he can come to the 3rd Wednesday, one in February, to speak with everybody.
that'd be good.
So we're all on the same page and not like blindsided by anything. Awesome.
Any other questions on this project?
Well, thank you for hearing me. Like I said, it's a lot of positive. Luckily, nothing,
Thank you.
no bad.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course, we're here for. Yeah, if there's nothing else to discuss, I guess I'll be in contact with anything comes up prior. When a contract comes, I'm not sure, when a contract is presented, what I need to bring it to the select board or?
No, we've already approved it.
We've already approved, okay. No, that's good to know, so I'm not bothering anybody with phone calls or anything else. Okay, thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
Yep, so.
And I sent you that around good.
Yeah, I got it, and I will fill out any extra stuff that needs to be filled in. Oh, and Linda, I had a question. Kate Warner, I believe her name is that correct? Have you been able to contact her?
No,
Yeah, I haven't heard anything and I need her to fill out a form. I'll reach out to her again. I just want
well,
to.
the forest meeting I see tomorrow night here at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
Most of the time she attends,
Past few times she's been. Skype,
yeah, but she was there. I was just thinking that, I could send it to you on,
yeah, I assume it's public.
Oh, yeah.
It's a public meeting, so I'll look it up today when I get home, and, you know, if I need to walk up to her and hand her the papers, then, yeah, so guys.
well, I think she comes on Zoom, she doesn't physically come.
I'll leave her a comment in the box.
You can do that.
Yeah.
But awesome, thank you for having me, everybody.
Thank
Have a good night.
All right, careful. So
Thank
that committee is for the link.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Some of you might have not, listened to the governor's, inaugural speech. He talked a lot about Wolcott in his speech, specifically, he talked about Wolcott, wanting and desiring a cafe. His speech was about, helping rural communities, you know, that don't have the manpower like larger communities to reach out to grants and work their way through the grants and so forth. I thought that was.
I think it would be wonderful to have a gathering spot.
Mhm.
You know, most villages don't have community stores anymore or restaurants. It'd be nice, I think.
Yeah.
So I had a few updates I wanted to give the board. One was, I left on your desk, I did just do a review, and the equipment purchasing, did a little spreadsheet of what it looked like. The payments and appropriations and how we end up with, over the years. You can take a look at it, but so you know what it is. 911 signs, I have been working since mid-December, and this finally got through to the state corrections. And they are no longer making signs, they are closing down. But it took me forever to get any response. I did get a response. They took my order, we're all set, and then a couple weeks later I got, we can't fulfill your order, we're closing. So right now, I've been working with the state to see what contract they're gonna use for signs, who their company will be to use them to buy highway signs. No response, I've emailed a couple of times, so I finally called our district advisor, Michelle, today. She had just heard that they were closing, she'll get back to me on that. I thought maybe work safe in Berlin, so just want to let you know that that is not progressing very quickly. And East Hill, I have emailed Jim Ryan twice, and have had absolutely no response on that. I don't know why he's away. I finally emailed him at work today because I said you're not responding to your personal email, so.
I know we had, I think the listers had one inquiry on that property.
Yesterday,
Yeah.
a private individual, living in Morrisville, and he's just looking generally at properties available in Wolcott. And so that was included in his inquiry.
He wasn't specifically looking for that particular place, right?
No, he was looking at any available properties. He builds fancy tree houses. And
What kind of houses?
Tree house.
One that people live in.
yeah, like,
We can go to Disney and stay in a treehouse.
yeah,
Well, we actually put one up, if you head to Cambridge, just before you get into the
Mhm.
town, it's on to the side. And it is massive, it's as big as this room.
Mm. Yeah.
To each his own.
So that's all I really have for updates. Let's move on to our budget hearing. Kurt?
So what you're looking at right now is not correct. Whether the line items are.
What are we looking at here?
So the only significant change in the budget was for equipment, the equipment fund. And as Linda pointed out on this sheet, it spells out the lease period that all of the equipment that we've recently leased and how that affects the equipment fund going over the years. The net result of that is that we changed the equipment fund from 77,000 to 100,000. The second change, which we've been waiting for, is to get the you get the fund balance, the correct fund balance number in place. And I believe we do have that now. And the number is 83,306. So the bottom line result between the fund balance and the increase for the equipment fund is a budget that what is this? 3.06 to the taxpayers. 3.6%. The highway went up 12%. And the general went down 4%. So we save 4% on the operating budget, highway budget 12%. And that is primarily a result of inflation, raw material. So I think in this environment, in an inflationary environment, 3.06% is pretty reasonable. The other thing I can share with you is the transfer station budget. As a result of moving Green Day, Bulk Day, in the October Green Day into the town budget, reduced our expenses on the transfer station budget. And so it's a very tight budget. So our income is very close to our expenses. The budget is very even operation. And the last thing I'll mention is that our allocations or appropriations are 100% of what they were last year. The little saplings or what do you call it?
Transfers.
Transfer saplings came in at the last minute today. And so our appropriations are identical to what they were last year. puzzle, Richard. Oh.
I look puzzled most of the time.
So we approve the budget tonight, we put it in a format that we can sign.
If we approve this budget, then I'm also gonna have to change the warning, because the fund balance number is kind of an 11th-hour number.
Right.
So I can change that, and change this into the same format as we've used in the past.
Well, let's just stick with one now, on the budget. Do we have questions on this budget? Well, and then we'll go to the one.
Which one said only had 3 signatures for appropriations?
It's Lemoyle Mental Health. And they are not on the appropriation. You look at the very bottom, you'll see that it is a petition appropriation. And it didn't, unfortunately, it did not come up with enough signatures to be considered.
Well, they've been dropped off this list.
Yeah, yeah.
And that would be reflected in the warning.
Yes.
We've never put them on because they never had a completed,
Form.
You know, but if you look at the warning, the appropriations are 100% identical to last year. Dollar amount and participants are exactly the same. I think it's good that we put the $100,000 in for the equipment fund, because that was that grows from year to year as his leases come into play. And so, as Linda had pointed out on this sheet, we still are going to run into a challenge, but it's going to come in the year 2030. But as long as we're allocating 100,000, which will, in future years will jump to 110,000, we're okay. But when we hit 2030, we're going to have a deficit in this account. So this is going to have to be planned for over the next 7 years.
so, we done with the budget, do we have any further questions, changes? So you can make a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget as set forward.
Second.
We have a first and a second to accept the 2022-23 town and highway budget.
Linda, do you mean 23, 24?
Yes, 23-24. Thank you. So the select board proposed budget is $1,708,388, including the articles in the warning. That's
That's going to have to change.
Oh, the total is going to change?
Yeah. So what we have is 1,689,828 plus 18,560.
you figure that out for the minutes, because I'd like it in the minutes, what we're doing.
So you need,
Minus,
you need the numbers again?
I have 1,689,828 plus 18,560.
60, right?
yeah,
And what is that total?
$1,708,388.
yeah, that's what's in here, the money,
It is correct.
yeah, that's what's in the money.
I thought the fund balance had changed that, but I guess.
No, that's what our budget is that we're voting on it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. So will we come, would you like us to come in and sign it, or should we have another little meeting?
I think it'd be good if you could come in. I can wrap all of this up tomorrow. And then if you could come in and sign, that would be great. Are you able to do that around?
I have to. I can come late to work.
One more.
Yeah.
When do they need to be signed by?
That's fine.
I'm in by the 26th,
22nd.
26th, but 22nd would be great.
Are you going to be here Friday, say around 4?
Yeah.
And then,
Or Belinda will be here.
It'd be easier for you, Alan, if we left it on the counter and you came in Saturday and signed it?
I can probably do it Friday.
Okay. You work that out with Belinda. So let's move on to the warning. We've gone through, you know, there's the basics, and there's social services, it's when taxes are due. So the only thing we're really adding here is Article 4 into the warning, and then wanted to get your comments or approval on that.
would you want to put limit amount on an article or just leave as is?
Yeah, I think we discussed that a little bit. I mean, I think that that's a likely question that will come up from the floor. This maybe talking. But we thought that it did not have to be here in the warning. So that certainly can be changed. I think right now the Champlain oil is, they're estimating their value somewhere around 40 to 45,000. Probably a much more realistic value is 30,000.
But so if we say 30,000 and they come in at 31, we'd hate to have our hands tied or something like that. I think it'll be a matter of discussion at town meeting. And if the voters decide they want to put a limit on it, they can, but at this point, it's hard with negotiations to put a price on it. Because then you're not negotiating.
No.
And we're probably not getting that much tax revenue from it anyway, are we?
Now, $168 a year.
Yeah. not gonna hurt the grand list.
Has the brownfield study been done yet?
Well, that's what Sal was saying, he needs to, send that paper into the EPA. But no, it hasn't been.
That's why this says pending the results of the background, yeah. But this just allows us to open negotiations and start some discussions. If we wait for the brownfield study to be done, it could be some time before we're able to discuss money with Champlain. Yeah.
And this is just opening it up to ask the voters if they want to buy it, basically.
I think vague is good, but then the voters can put strings on it if they don't feel it's good.
Champlain Oil, I mean, they'd have no luck developing that property. Water, sewage. And it's just like,
It's a parking.
yeah,
Well, that's what's basically happened to that parking area is they don't do it. That's where the town shed was. We did nasty little things. Lots of nasty.
It's only good for the parking area.
yeah.
And
Well, it used to have a hotel there at one time.
yeah, and we found at one point it was in the floodplain, but looking at floodplain. FEMA, is that little piece of land there is not.
It's just barely high enough amount that it's third country.
I tried to make some initial argument with Champlain, Oil that, you know, it's in a floodplain, right? It's not.
Well, nice driver.
Yeah.
Well, it was at one time.
Yeah. It could be. Yeah.
1997, it was. Want my mailbox.
Okay, the only thing I think is, didn't you say we need to add another library trustee?
Yes. What happened was Megan, Roy resigned. So it vacated hers and the library trustee's been trying to come up with somebody to appoint. But they haven't found anybody, so hers will be a 3-year to fill her remaining one, and the other library trustee would be for 5 years.
So we gotta have a 3-year library trustee.
Yeah.
And all of these positions need to be petitioned.
Yes, that did not change in the new legislative bill, and the bill has not come out of the Senate yet, so we're still, playing. But even in the bill, it says they have to have a petition.
When the petitions do.
26.
And what happens to all these roles that are, there is no.
So we will, on the ballot, we will make up what it'll say is, say, library trustee for 3 years. They'll have 2 places, a place where you can do a write-in.
Write-in.
Because there won't be
So
So
this-
far, I have 3 petitions and I have 2 consent forms, and so I know those people already, but I don't know of anybody else.
The library trustee.
No, different positions in tax. And I know somebody is working on a petition right now, commissioner, but other than that. And so people could do a writing campaign, and, you know, they could talk about it at town meeting, because they have all day to go.
So, are we happy with the warning? Any changes you want Kurt to make? Before he makes up the final one for us to sign with the budget?
I think that's the only thing he has to do is have that 30-year term.
Yeah.
That's gonna be it.
Okay.
But the transfer station, but
Yeah, I think we need to approve that. Do we have one or instead of just the meeting numbers?
I think we need. Look at what we're doing. Does anybody have a transfer station?
I don't have it on one.
Mine is mine. I can print one up right now.
So Linda, the only thing I have a question on this is to accept the reports, we don't have to do that anymore.
No.
Okay.
Because, no,
PM issues, make the big.
I took a workshop on that and I said, no, that,
All right.
that we're presenting them and there's nothing to accept. Um,
This is old news, or Jack's turned up.
We're getting to. I'm important.
On my Facebook, it's all about this, this GPS thing.
Yeah.
Now, so the newer GPS collars are good for 10 miles. Before they were only 2 miles.
Well, some of the people that victim then.
Put that on his face, front porch floor. There are a lot of people who could use that.
And
use them for that. Oh, wow.
It's-
Oh, so many hours I spend looking for my cat at night. Hours.
They're not cheap, but
I don't care.
but it comes with the option. If you don't like what they're doing, you push the button and they go, oh yeah. I have.
Along the fire in the fair. Yeah. He beat and ran the fire. So now. Well, this isn't bad. $18.
Really?
Mm.
Sure.
Gotta make sure you don't lose the call.
Wonder how one of those Apple tags would work.
So the thing with those is they need to communicate with the device that has that program running it. That needs to be pretty close proximity because it's Bluetooth.
So you can't be 5, 10.
Up here, 5 miles out in the woods. Including Is this budget this? I'm sorry, is that? Will you ever say that this budget is this? Oh, telegraphic. Is this one page? 2 pages. Let's see.
So do we have any questions to Kurt on this budget?
No, I think what really helped with this was moving the cleanup day and the bulk day expenses out of this budget, so.
Not hearing any questions, I guess we'll take a motion to accept the transfer station budget. I'll make a motion to accept the transfer station budget. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further questions?
The compost, is that still? hurting us.
Is it like,
Still hurting us, costing us.
yeah,
Is it worth raising the price?
it's worth managing it better, I think, because I don't think that that's where the problem is. The problem is in managing the bins and the pickup schedule. What's happening is they're getting half fulls picked up on too regular of a basis. So that's something we gotta work in. So I don't think it's cost. I think it's,
Basically, he's got to chain off one container.
yeah,
Concentrate on
talked about it many times, and yeah, it's just one of those things where I gotta go up there every weekend, I think, to make it happen.
Let's we'll just buy it over or something, just so you can and nobody else can. That's what he's gonna have to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just,
And it's not a big addition to his routine.
no, it's not.
I'll even supply the rope. I just, well, the punching cord, well, I probably rope, that way you gotta tie a knot.
So,
So basically, they're picking up 2 half-full containers.
on occasion that happens, yes, yeah. And so they bill us as
As
two,
full.
yeah.
Yes. Well, I guess he's gotta be re-educated on that.
Do they wash them out? Do they clean when they come to us? Isn't there room in that shed to put them in the corner? I mean, I thought we took everything out. What's in that shed besides him? He's on one side.
A bottle shed, or you mean the big office shed? Well, in the warmer weather, I don't think I'd wanna walk into that and be asthmatic. Foulness.
And watch now. The
Yeah.
clean one.
Leave the empty one in there.
Empty ones, all
What I
right,
meant.
okay.
I didn't mean the, oh,
Oh, no, please don't.
the empty ones, so then you're not, distracted to just open the lid.
We'll put it in that fenced area.
Yeah, something. There's ways around it.
Oh, yeah, there definitely is. I think Silvio's great. He's reliable in showing up. And the rest of it is somebody's gotta go up every weekend and remind him.
Well, I remind him that we're losing money every time I go.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay.
And I'll see the look on his face that he's already been reminded twice the same day.
I think that's what it takes.
Yes.
3 reminders.
Okay, we have a first and second on the table to accept the transfer station budget. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you, Kurt. Okay, project manager report.
Fairly short, sweet. Last week we brought up the certificate of highway mileage. There was a question about trails and to be added to that. No?
So actually, the deadline is February 10th.
Right.
I have come in and done some research. The trail I was thinking about was on there. I did some research on the Turcotte Road. But I never came to any conclusion. It looks a lot longer on that. On the latest map compared to 1947, it changes. I found really early maps, but I don't really have the time to go through and look at, because they talk about neighbors and houses and roads that don't even have the same name, and it would taken a credible amount of research. So I say go ahead and submit it,
Okay, and there's no change,
right?
right? Okay.
What did you find for a length about a mile?
I left it all on my table. It's a little over a mile.
Yeah, not much.
No, it was like 1.3 back in 47. It's smaller, but then it seemed like the state is trying to say, didn't the road go through to up to the line? I can never see that it ever went up to the
No,
line.
it's class 4.
Right, and they didn't like how it bended. They thought it should go this way, and we have it going this way.
It's gotta go this way because it went to the old round barn.
Right, wasn't
If you
it?
go to the other way, it's a private property.
So who owned that round barn?
I couldn't tell you, it was before my time.
It wasn't Darling, was it? Lynn Wickham took the Historical Society up there once. But yeah, I knew it went to the round barn, but I didn't know who the round barn.
Well, it used to be, they call that, the old Gates Farm Road is what it used to connect on to.
Oh, did it go up?
It did go up past the old round barn and onto the old Gates Farm Road. But when they quit using the farm, then it stopped at the round barn.
When they stopped using the courthouse?
Yeah, the courthouse, they stopped using that, that's when it was thrown out. In the, I can't think of that architect goal on the
Michael
property,
Gold, yeah.
and that's what it through. Because I used to go out there hunting years ago.
So it went through his land,
Right.
because then there's also the one for Nancy Grant. If that comes up off of the trail that goes to me and Wickham's,
Right.
that old, but, and I want to make sure,
That's the old Gates Farm, where
I want to make sure that was still on there,
it should be.
because it's like part of the forest and stuff. I don't know, maybe next year I'll
Okay.
have time to. It's interesting, but it's gonna be very time consuming, I think.
Okay. So the signs for Gulf Road Bridge have arrived. The road crew has them, they're gonna install it as soon as possible. So the signs say one-way bridge ahead, slow. So we're gonna get those in as soon as possible. Putting out for a mowing contract with Brad Blaisdell. It was a 3-year contract, and has expired. So we're gonna put out bids for a mowing contract. We did budget it at
45.
so we added quite a bit of anticipation, that there's gonna be a higher bids on it. Fuel being one of the components. Appropriations, we discussed already, the transfer station, we discussed the budget, Champlain Oil, we discussed. And East Hill Road property, we had discussed in terms of trying to find potential buyers for it. Handyman, so Nathan, is just a huge asset. The amount that he's gotten done in just a couple of months is just really great. This room has been painted, the town garage has been painted, the transfer station has been upgraded. The town hall has been cleaned, et cetera. So I think he's been fantastic. Also, he's plowing. He's doing our winter plowing. So he recently got a job with Butternut as a surfer. And so he is going to be working full-time for Butternut 4 days a week. So I think they have extended shifts. So it's 4 days a week. He'll continue to work for Wolcott for 8 hours a week on Friday. So we'll have him all day every Friday. In addition to that, he will plow. So if it's an overnight storm, he will plow 4 in the morning, something like that. If it's a daytime storm, he will be back out by 2:30, 3 o'clock to plow. So I think all of the value that we're getting from Nathan will continue. It's just going to be on a little different schedule. The one thing that we've lost with this change is Linda had earmarked Nathan to help put up 911 signs when the time came. And that probably is not going to be realistic. It's just pretty that's it. So we didn't lose them. We just have to readjust. But what he's done has been seen.
Well, he's certainly earned his money. Oh, God bless him.
Okay, thank you, Kurt.
Mhm.
We already discussed the warning. I thought we maybe could spend a few minutes vaguely talking about town meeting. It's coming up soon. Nolan wanted to maybe record it. The meeting. I don't think it's feasible, or it would be too confusing to have an interactive hybrid meeting. They couldn't vote, but ask questions and stuff. How do you feel about him recording it? If someone wanted to watch it, a lot of people watch it on YouTube after.
Well, is it something we can handle or?
That's up to Dolan. He's the one that presented it, not me.
I can record it, I could live stream it. I mean, it's very compelling television and stuff.
Yeah, I don't see that there's any harm in it, just as long as people realize they can't speak or vote.
And they'll figure that out quite shortly.
It is possible to make it so people could speak into the meeting. But if you don't want that,
It's just way too confusing.
the other thing you could do is have comments or questions read into the meeting by the moderator through the chat window. That's a possibility, but I don't know if you want to go that way. But we could start this year with just a basic recording and post it on YouTube so anybody can watch it.
That's the way I would like to go. Because it's just there, watch it. Yell at your TV or computer screen, but that's it.
And I think for this year, that's what we'll do, and then see if we get any comments or anything.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm hoping that we even have a moderator.
the pandemic is going to be a huge deterrent this time around. So might be a few people like, while I'm there, I'm gonna be in a mask.
We're not losing our moderator, are we?
No, but he hasn't
Doesn't be-
filled out a petition.
elected.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he hasn't filled out a petition yet.
Oh,
And he did this last year, he didn't fill out a petition. So he asked for write-ins and he got the write-ins he needed.
be a friendly reminder, whether every hour or so.
But Belinda, you
They just reminded him.
They love it.
You know, people just so much, you know. They have to take responsibility sometimes.
Any tourism.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to call and retreat.
Okay. I'll be nice.
Anything else about town meeting? We were gonna have Joe come in, if he was the moderator at the last meeting in February and the first one in March, to just discuss the day.
Well, he will still be the moderator.
Right.
Because
That's right, and
it's he voted on,
yeah, he'll still be the moderator.
and he'll be the moderator for the school too.
But, what would you like to see the day like? Do you want school kids doing anything, singing a song, pledge allegiance? What would you like? Is there anything you'd like to see? Do you want just to drive business in and out?
Lots of people.
It's gonna be very short. And then the school will happen.
But in the past, there's been, the coffee window has been open.
Well, the athletic association did it and Justice for Dogs did it. I'm not really sure. I think there's a new parent
Right,
teacher organization, PTO, that might want to do it. I could reach out to Mrs. LaChance.
I would, and see, because I think food is a necessity. Even though you might not need lunch, I think a cup of coffee, hot chocolate,
Yeah, it's,
some kind of pastries or bread. I think one of the reasons is, I don't think those organizations ever made any money.
oh, I'm sure they didn't.
No. It probably cost them a lot of money.
The other thing is reach out to Mr. Hill, the new principal, and find out if there's any COVID procedures that we will have to follow.
So can you come back to our next meeting with some of this stuff, just so all this, we're not scrambling, the end of February, trying to, pull things together. Like, do we want to have any displays from the schoolhouse or
Right.
forest, committees? We've had that in the past. There's different options, or there might be some new ideas that I'm not even thinking of that other people can come up.
And the Girl Scouts moved up with these, I don't know.
So we can report back at our February 1st meeting.
Yep.
With what things we found out.
Including our mics and everything. And Dolan will help me with that.
Yeah, I'd actually like to go through that soon.
Okay, we have a letter from the listers asking the select board, the E911 coordinators, asking the select board to delete the private road name of Deals Way. The basis for the request is that the former owner of the property, Mr. Deals, sold his property parcel of land to an abutting landowner on Brookview Lane. There are no structures along the roadway. When named, it was intended to be a driveway to Mr. Deal's property. So it's not really going anywhere. They'd like to delete it. And have the E911 board do so also. Are there any objections to that? We'll make a motion to allow the E911 coordinators to delete Deals Way from
I'll second that motion.
E911. All those in favor?
All right.
So carried. Anything else? Tax sale.
There's a certificate of no appeal.
Yeah, but I was reading it and it says they have to wait until first Tuesday of February. The notice of tax sales taking place when, Olga?
February, it should be on the back page, I'm sure. Around the second week, I think.
February 7th.
Oh, okay.
The town is holding a tax sale. Currently, there's 9 parcels on it. The select board needs to designate or appoint a person to represent the town at the tax sale who would, basically buy any parcels of land that no one bids on.
Who's done that, but
I have, and before that, Linda did it, so it's usually the treasurer, so
Yeah.
we have to buy the property from the town, we have to write the check.
yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Do you have a question for the select board? Is that if there is an unlanded mobile home, do you want the town to buy them or not? I think I need to be instructed on this.
No.
Okay,
Is that one of the properties that's up?
yes,
Is it, we had the unlanded mobile home. Who was making tax payments, is that still working out?
yes, 25 a week. Clockwork, it is in here every Monday unless I'm closed, and it's Tuesday. It's very good. No,
I
it's
wouldn't buy any properties that are,
unlanded.
or, just,
I understand.
That has.
Yeah, they are.
Like the one we bought on still. Never again.
there are some. So we have a motion to appoint Belinda to,
I'll make,
represent the town,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
okay? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thinking we'll whittle it down. I'm surprised by none.
Before we adjourn, I had mentioned a couple weeks ago that I wanted to have a, portion of our select board meeting for taking public comment for, some of the ARPA funds. We have about 300,000 left unsigned anything. We have what, until 2024 December to spend it. Maybe the residents have, some ideas that they could, bring to us. I wonder if we could publicize that on Front Porch Forum and, the website. You know, they can do Zoom. So would you prefer to our next meeting or second meeting in February?
The second meeting might need to prep for town meeting, so I would say use your first one to talk to the people, then you'll know more going to town meeting.
I mean, ultimately, we get to decide, but we at least want to give them, we have given them the opportunity. I mean, I came across, we sent out earlier, a survey where we only received 51 responses from people.
And the responses were pretty much the same. I mean, there was nothing really new there.
We've had surveys about it at our events,
Mhm.
but this give them another opportunity.
Yeah.
I think this is where we can bring up the second screen. Yeah, that's great. And the other thing I'd like to do is some of the networking infrastructure in the building. Getting that networking cleaned up, prepared for when big high speed comes to town.
Good luck.
Well, a lot of people are talking about cell service. Too, I mean, we're still getting calls from Town Hill and East Hill and Allen Road and stuff saying they just
It won't until they put in a tower.
Yeah,
But I don't think the town can affect that. Yeah, I don't.
no. You might get people saying ARPA funds should go towards improving that
Yeah.
somehow.
And then we have that. Yeah.
So we have some, but I mean, if we threw our whole 300,000 at it, it wouldn't make a dent.
No.
And they, in these, communication districts already have their plan. I was reading through, the one for the Northeast Kingdom. They already have their plan of how they're going. It's not gonna change anything.
Mm.
And when you heard the numbers, it scared you.
Right. But when they presented to us in August, they mapped out their route. Wolcott wasn't even on it.
You might as well figure 10 years.
So we're not even in the 5-year.
No,
Unless Consolidated gets a bunch of money they want to spend on for some magic reason.
Right, the only thing I can think of is these companies that are already existing are going to want to save their customers, you know, and will start making some improvements, but other than that,
Comcast is still all over Richard Wolcott Road.
Yeah, Comcast came in out of Elmore. And, yeah, they wandered into Wolcott a little bit.
Yeah, dug some trenches across the road.
Yeah, I know the trenches. Heard all about the trenches.
Yeah, there's speed bumps now.
and have to fill out that paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah, Gillen has been in touch with them, hasn't come by for their. To do the permit,
Yeah, I'm guessing
Radioactive.
they're on the pond road too.
I mean,
Are they on the pond road as well?
I hear they're going out there,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, they need to stop until they fill out the
and
form.
we told them that.
Are they stopped?
I haven't seen them in a while. But they keep showing up in my driveway, which is not part of the right of way.
Well, we will give you one of the forms.
They also in our Walnut Lane
Yeah.
without permission.
Yeah.
And
That's
Oh, that's private.
and that's a private road, yeah. Yeah, they were pretty,
I do have one last thing, it's not on the agenda or anything, test kits were dropped off for COVID. Some are going to be going to the, school, but if we need people out there in the community and they need tests or, you know, whatever, we have them here. Some of them are good until July next year, so,
was come from the state.
yes, it is.
It's-
I had to sign off on them. But, and then they, you know, they have an expiration date, but then they give me a piece of paper with extended expiration dates.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like the cheese store in Burlington.
are they made in China?
The CDC or whatever it is has, approved these extended dates, so.
Okay, anything else? Make a motion to adjourn.
Make the emotion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
Okay.
Glad to be able to make it. I'm glad to be able to make it.
If I have all these still, tell me.